And we are back. Welcome to the grand finals of the 9th edition of United States Cup in 2025. The two teams here today have both gotten a taste of the grand finals before, but have both come up short. New York losing to Virginia last year and Texas losing to NorCal back a long time ago. But now both with the opportunity to come back to grands and potentially win the badge. I am Miles, and joining me in the booth here today is iFlame. What's up, man?
I can't wait for this match. Like I said, it's been 6 years since Texas has found themselves in the grand finals. They came up short that time around, but this time they're looking to change that up, and it's been a tough road for them. They've certainly earned their place in the grand finals, but they beat NorCal, SoCal, and Virginia historically, three of USC's best teams to make it here to the grand finals. New York, on the other hand, have been dominant all tournament long. They have looked completely unstoppable in pretty much every matchup. These two teams did actually play in the quarterfinals, and New York took that one 6-3, but obviously much different, much harder pool. I don't imagine we're going to see a super similar match, and a lot of depth on both of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the rare situations in USC Grand Finals where I feel like both of these teams got here based off their depth. Like, yes, New York has Taquito and Pez, both OWC level talents, but oh my god, this song. They have so much depth on their team. You could put in a third player for just about every skill set, like Emerald Aegis for the reading, Karomi for aim, Opixe for tech. Like, they just have so much depth, and Toki for speed, of course. Just all very strong, very well-rounded players to support those two OWC talents. Meanwhile, Texas kind of in a similar boat where you have Decaton as that OWC level talent, but then also joined by Chili Repair and Flamesteer, who are both exceptionally strong players in their own right. And then you also have players like Toybot and Trigon who come in for gimmicky stuff, and Aiden, who has just been such an underrated demon on the speed in this tournament. So yeah, just very well-rounded squads here tonight.
Yeah, definitely think we're going to see a lot of contested picks. And I think one area that New York is going to be looking at is that the entirety of the hidden pool. Texas lost all three of the hidden maps against Virginia. I mean, there were some close ones, but I think that is going to be a one target for New York. Texas, I think oftentimes strong on the hard rock, strong on the precision, and occasionally strong on the speed. Now, I imagine we are going to see the hidden three banned out by Texas. They got, I think they got like 300, 400K on that map when they played it. It was a bit of a disaster. Only Toybot could play the map, and the other two players got less than 100,000 points. So that is almost a must ban from them. And Miles, this may be the last time we get to complain about warm-ups this year. So sad.
I'm not complaining at all. This is the best warm-up of all time. This is a legacy
Banger.
pick for those in the know, as we say in the business. Yeah, this Ben Williams. Can we please reschedule the match to 4 UTC Tuesday?
We didn't quite make it to 4 UTC Tuesday.
Yeah, it's pretty late, but not that late. But yeah, as you said for the bans, I feel like Texas is going to have to pull some magic out of the hat in some places in this matchup, because no matter what, they either have to win some DT maps against the best DT team in the tournament by far, or they need to win some gimmickier maps against a team with arguably superior gimmick players. Like, you're going to have to win like a map like Bag against like Emerald Aegis or something, because those disadvantages aren't going to be easy to just like neutralize, and you can only ban out one of those skill sets. So we'll see.
Texas is going to have to be on their game. Certainly feels like they're the underdogs in this matchup, but didn't stop them yesterday, or not yesterday, but didn't stop them against Virginia. I think 70% of people picked Virginia to win that matchup, but Texas prevailed the pretty similar percentage. I think 70% as well have taken New York over Texas. We'll see if they can prevail yet again as we get into our first warm-up. I think the bans for New York are a lot more up in the air. I think they have a lot more flexibility in that sense, and we may just very well see them try to ban out Texas's comfort picks. Something like that free mod 4, or potentially one of those hard rocks as well. They did have the DT4 banned out against them, so yeah, this is quite the map.
Yeah, I love this map. It's just Beautiful background as well. I recommend everyone download this map and look at the screenshots in the background.
You're playing it with Hard Rock. A little
Yeah,
ambitious.
because of course he is, and that's gonna be some foreshadowing for the match. As you said, Texas is gonna try to pick into the Hard Rock. Just any map where they can flex their depth, like they have the most complete Hard Rock roster in the tournament, arguably, and they're gonna want to show that off in this matchup with Chillier, Flames, and Decatur. Any map where you can have all three of them in the lobby is gonna be a really strong one for them.
Yeah, Decatur really playing well on a few maps in their last match, especially on the no mod on the hidden one. Decatur put up some really strong scores. I think Texas is definitely going to be relying on Decatur a fair bit throughout this matchup.
Well, yeah, they just need him to go nuclear. They need him to match up against either Pez or Taquito on just about every map. And same thing I think needs to be said for Flames tier, a player who's just continuously gotten better and is starting to maybe reach like that almost OWC tier of player. He needs to play like he wants to be on that team this year. All right, we're almost done with this map as we get into the Genryu Kaiko ending. It's a beautiful creation.
It is impressive that we have two players above 50% accuracy. What a great ending. We do have a whole another warm-up to go. I happen to know it's 4 minutes long, so we still got a bit of time on our hands before we get into this matchup.
So I guess we could talk a little bit more about this map pool then. I think this map pool just has some insane picks at like the extremities of skill sets. Like for stamina, you have Age's Die, which is almost 6 minutes long and nearly 260 BPM. You have maps like Chocobo and Bag, which are both incredibly difficult reading picks. And HR1 is a CS8 space stream map. Like these maps are built for specialists, and I think if anyone can find comfort on like one of those picks that are testing the extremities of skill sets, it could be enough to determine those maps as, we like to call them, I guess, solo carry maps. And I think there's probably about 5 of them in the pool.
Yeah, there's quite a few, a lot more than you usually see. And even outside of those specialty maps, the other maps are incredibly difficult. And it's really tough to get 3 players together that can put up really solid scores on the map. And I mean, talking about specialists, I think it's relatively balanced, right? You have Aiden, that speed specialist for Texas. You have a bit more of a precision specialist in Flames tier. And then similar for New York, you have Pez, who's a bit more of that hard rock precision specialist, can play a whole lot. And you have Emerald Ages as well for some of those lower AR maps.
Yeah, definitely a map pool where just having that one big score will mean a lot. And I think that the players on both teams that are specialists are good enough at those skill sets to be able to really make a difference. It's not like previous years where, like, say in like 2022 when it didn't matter what you did because Utami was just going to 1v3 you. Like, that isn't present at all in this map pool.
Yeah, I feel like this map pool has quite a fair bit of mechanics as well compared to some of the previous week's pools. There's a lot less aim control, a lot more like, you know, technical maps, a lot more aim-heavy maps, and I feel like that generally has looked pretty good for Texas, so maybe that'll help them out a bit here, but that's what's so scary about New York. It feels like they can play just about everything. There are very few areas that they're disadvantaged on. But maybe Hard Rock will be one of those targets.
Yeah, I think Texas really wants to play HR in this match. If their mod choice on this warm-up isn't anything to go off of, because this map was HR in Corsair's Closed Grands last year. So, yeah, if they're willing to HR this, they might like this mod.
Yeah, showing off just a little bit. I mean, it's no secret that Texas wants to play HR, right? They're certainly not giving anything away by triple modding the Hard Rock on this one. Even on some of the free mods, like that free mod 1, they like to overmod the Hard Rock, and so that's really going to play into their favor, and we'll see how much New York respects that overmod. I think they're going to be pretty comfortable on the free mod 1 at least, over modding themselves, likely with the hidden rather than the hard rock, but might not be so comfortable on the hard rock maps themselves. Interesting enough, Texas only picked one of the hard rocks in their last match, that hard rock 1. Neither of the other two were banned against them. They just opted not to pick them, so maybe not as comfortable on those. Mind you, they were playing against Virginia, so picking hard rock into Rectagon is a little bit terrifying.
Yeah, if you look at the stats sheet right now, both HR1 and HR2 were played. Both of them were won by Texas, and both of them have Rectagon as the top score. So always have to hold your breath a little bit when picking that mod into Rectagon. But you still have that threat on New York with Pez on the HR. But definitely no disrespect to Pez, but you can breathe a little more when playing it against him than compared to Rectagon.
Yeah, it feels a little bit more manageable, although far from easy. And Taquito, despite being known for, years and years as a hidden player, definitely is still a hidden player, but has gotten incredibly good over the years at some of these hard rocks. And so Taquito is sneakily a player to watch out for, even on the hard rock, especially on a lot of these free mods. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah, and at the same time, I think New York's backing on the HR might be stronger than that Virginia would put up. Like a Pez, Taquito, Toki on HR is still extremely formidable, and they're gonna have to really play their best to have a chance in this match. I know going into this, us in the internal VC here, we were all talking about how we think this match, there's a high chance that New York could just run away with this one if they're playing really well, and that Texas really needs to overperform to have a shot in this.
Yeah, and I think outside of those hard rocks and outside of the kind of more gimmicky reading maps, those hiddens, I think we're going to see a lot of contested picks. I think we're going to see potentially some more decisive points early on in this match, and very quickly, after 2 or 3 picks for each team, it's going to get very difficult to pick for either team. And yeah, Decaden actually putting up a very good score on this. Is that with hard rock? Oh my god.
Too? Yeah, that's with hard rock. That's top score in the lobby with hard rock. 342k. That's a Course Ace closed level score right there for Decaden. Very good score, beating everyone else on the Nomad even.
Now just do it in the match.
Yeah, it's time to do that on the CS8 pick, the HR1. Now, I really wonder what the bans are going to be here, because we've been talking about them for a while. I do think New York is going to go for either the 2 easiest maps in the pool or 2 hard rocks. So
yeah, I think it's going to be Hidden 2, Hidden 3 for Tex, if I had to guess. Hidden 2 for sure, and then the Hidden 3 that they really struggled on. I think New York, yeah, I think I do like the hard rocks for them. Not that I don't think New York can play the hard rocks, but if you think Texas are comfortable on the hard rocks, then you just ban out what's comfortable for them. And that's a lot of times, especially when you are the favorite going into the match, the best way to make sure your opponents don't get an upset. Now, Texas did look phenomenal on a lot of the DT picks, putting up some really strong scores, 1.6, 1.8 million, but New York have been so good on the DTs all tournament, I don't think there's any chance that they ban those out.
Yeah, I was thinking that Texas would also consider banning out some DT, because against New York, even all the way back in quarterfinals when they played before, New York is just an insane DT roster. They were beating out Texas with multiple FCs even, and I don't know if they want to risk going into that against them, especially as like their skill cap is definitely in the range of everything in this pool. They're still able to put up potentially multiple FCs on a couple of these DTs, especially DT 1 and 2. But gonna be Nomad 5 ban coming out for New York, so actually banning out one of those extreme gimmick picks.
Yeah, this was banned out against Texas in their previous match, so unfortunately for them, not allowed to play it. I imagine if it's being banned against them twice, it's something that they've practiced and look good on. So the ban does make sense. We have a Nomad 1 ban for Texas. That's going to be your 254 BPM 6-minute stamina map. That ban makes a lot of sense as well. It is kind of, you don't have quite as tough of a speed pick in a DT pool, so not going to touch that so far. And then based on that Nomad 5 ban, do we see another kind of rating map banned out? Maybe that anti-mod pick, but it's tough to say.
Yeah, I was thinking this Nomad 1 could potentially be a ban for Texas, because it's just like that skill set, like the stamina in general. That map in particular is just it. If you don't have someone who can play it all the way through, you can't really justify leaving it open because it's just so long. Once you lose your stamina, you start missing all the streams and you can't put up a single good score. Like, just not a map you want to risk against a player like Pez.
Definitely not. We wait for the second New York ban. Definitely feels like New York has a lot of options here. It's just going to come down to comfort. And they do have a fair bit of information, right? Texas versus Virginia played 12 maps, so New York has a lot to work with. I think they can tell whether or not there are any particular maps or any particular scores that they're scared of. If so, we'll see that map banned out. But if they ban out a map that Texas didn't play, I think it's going to be kind of telling that New York are not super afraid of Texas's previous scores, and it starts to get a little bit scary potentially.
New York really
their ban timer though, yeah.
Yeah, they're taking their time here, letting the timer run all the way down. And it's gonna be the Nomad 2. Okay, Oriental Blossom. This was the final map played last night against Virginia, and Texas got carried by an incredible run from Decatur, getting, I believe, around 700k on that. And Texas knocking out that Hidden 2 finally. This map didn't do too well on this one last night, to say the least.
They had a little bit of a rough time. They did leave the Hidden 3 open, unfortunately. They got 400k on that map, and you have to feel like New York can probably beat 400,000 points. So I think a potential early pick for New York in that Hidden 3, but we could see them save it for later as well. Really, on a map like that, all it takes is a single player who can play the map even somewhat comfortably, and you should have that one in the bag.
Now, Texas gonna have the first pick here. They still have a lot of their maps open. Somehow the entire Hard Rock pool making it through ban phase, as well as the free mod pool, and both of those have been Texas's favorite mod pools throughout the tournament, so see if they potentially go into that early on. They've got the free mod 1 and free mod 4 potentially as good first picks for them, I think.
Yeah, both maps they put up really good scores on, and it wasn't even one player popping off like with that Nomad 2. They just had really good team scores all around. Everybody contributing on those maps, so I think those are very reasonable for Texas. But we'll find out shortly.
Also taking their time here. They could also just throw caution to the wind and pick a map like HR1. That would be an interesting first pick.
Yeah, that'd be pretty crazy. It can definitely be pretty jarring to go straight into CS 8.1 right out of warm-ups. So a lot of teams do like to save those position picks for a little bit later on after they've warmed up, but maybe you want to try and catch your opponent off guard. Definitely a valid strategy. They're going to go for that Hard Rock 3 instead. We've got Amazing. There's going to be CS6 slider aim pick, has a fair bit of flow aim as well. And, you know, with that CS, it is somewhat precise, but this is the one Hard Rock that Texas did not play against Virginia. We'll see what kind of a score they can put up against New York here.
Yeah, instantly operating outside of the realm of New York's information. That's could throw them a little bit off guard. Maybe they were more prepared for a map that they picked earlier yesterday, but you can see what that does to the lobby. There's nobody in there. Both teams need to gather their rosters here. This map, as you said, slider aim with a little bit of a precision element. Not the type of thing you typically see in a map pool.
Yeah, very tricky ending as well. We have a bunch of spaced slider streams, which is certainly not something you see in all too many maps, so I can't imagine there are a lot of players that have really practiced spaced slider streams. I think a section that will catch a lot of players out. I think players to watch on this one, of course, going to be Pez for New York. I mean, Opixe, I'm sure, can put up a good score as well. But Pez, generally the main threat for New York on these Hard Rock picks. In the lobby now, Godskin Noble is Pez, for those of you unaware. And I think Decatur has consistently, all tournament long, been the player to watch on Texas, has been putting up good score after good score, week after week. And major reason why Texas has found themselves in the grand finals.
Yeah, I think the Texas roster for New York, the Texas roster for Hard Rock, as I said earlier, Decatur, Flamesteer, and Chillier, they're going to try and pick as many maps as they can that put these three players in the lobby, because these three have probably the highest skill cap on the team and maybe the highest potential to put up good scores on the widest range of skill sets. So if they can pick maps for these three, they're going to be smooth sailing, and I think any of these three can put up a good score. But for New York, this roster is lethal as well. I think we all should remember Opixe's heroics from last year on the Losers Grand Finals tiebreaker, putting up an incredible run there. So he definitely has it in him to perform on these Grand Finals map pools. And here we go into the first map. Early break coming out from Chillier on Texas. This map pretty long, though, 3 minutes in length, so not going to do too much damage.
Yeah, this map, especially in the second half, can be really tough on the accuracy. I think the first half of the map is going to be much more manageable, so we shouldn't see too many big accuracy drops, but could definitely see a factor. It'd be a factor if we see any big chain misses, any big accuracy drops into the ending, especially if you have a close match. There's going to be 3 misses, 2 of them on Texas, so New York out to an early lead, but Pez drops that one very quickly, and Opixe, the last combo holding, facing off against Decatur here. And there goes Opixe as well as Decatur, so whole lobby has now missed, and this is looking pretty even. I mean, just goes to show how difficult of a map these is. These flow aim patterns are so insanely spaced, but accuracy relatively good for both teams, slightly in favor of New York, because Chillier is down at 94%. But into the break, 1.7 thousand points. Couldn't ask for a much closer first map than that.
Still got a ton of map to go, though. Still a couple minutes. That chain miss from Taquito and another break from Pixe are going to throw that lead back over to Texas, though. But Flamesteer and Chillier are both going to be matching them at every turn. So it's going to be Decatur now to be the difference maker with the highest accuracy and formerly the highest combo to bring them about a 12k lead. But that's now tentative as that combo is gone.
Yeah, nobody's been able to build up much of a combo on either side, so neither side has been able to build up a big advantage. That back and forth pattern really gets Texas 2 combos down, and now feels like for the first time in this match, New York has a somewhat substantial combo advantage, and they have a chance to really push this one. We're getting into some of those really tricky spaced slider streams coming up, and so New York could very easily drop all 3 of these combos in about 5-10 seconds time.
Yeah, but Texas is going to have to hold through those, because New York, they did a great job holding through that section. The 300 combos are really substantial on a map this difficult, and having 3 of them up during the slow section especially, they're able to really punch some lead in here. Into the last quarter of the map we go. It's a 90k lead as we get into the sliders. It's a couple breaks for Texas, only matched by Pixe on the side of New York.
And that's a full reset for Texas. That's going to be first point for New York in this Hard Rock 3 pick. Unfortunately, not working out. New York find themselves within a very early break point.
Yeah, the first pick not going well for Texas. It was a team effort from New York on this one. Pez, Taquito, and Pixe all around that 300k mark, where you have Chillier down at 180k and Flamesteer down at 240k for Texas, and that's how New York is gonna get on the board early here.
Seeing as we're so early in this match, New York has so many picks available, and they have so much information to work with. And I think I'm still looking at that hidden 3, but honestly, generally, any of the hiddens should feel pretty good for New York. Maybe not the hidden 1, because there is a chance Decatur just pops off and you give up a break point. But I think the rest of that pool could be decent for them. I do think New York have quite a good free mod roster as well. There is still a little bit of speed left in the pool with that DT2 being 246 BPM speed tech map. And outside of that, I think that's most of the tapping. I mean, you have the 3 mod 3, which is just more of a consistency stream pick. So not quite the advantage like New York have on the really fast speed maps. And so I think, like in DT2, HD3, very likely early picks for New York.
I think potentially a DT1 as well. That's just the skill set that New York has looked to be the best on throughout the tournament. And even though Texas is good on that, if you're able to win that and you're New York, I think Texas is going to be in a really poor position, because that's a type of map that Texas really wants to be able to win against this New York team, and if you're able to shove that down their throats this early into the match and get a 2-0 lead, that would be really good for them.
Yeah, that would be absolutely massive. Get the momentum going early. And I think, Miles, you mentioned at the start of this match, New York is the kind of team that if they get going early, they have the ability to just absolutely run over a match. Once they get going, they do not let up, and they can just steamroll almost any team in the tournament. Of course, Texas, they're going to put up a fight as we are still waiting for that New York pick. Teams are really taking their time with the pick bans this evening.
Gives us a lot of time to yap.
It does indeed. It's only taken us 25 minutes to finish a map, Miles. That's
yeah.
we're on good pace.
Yeah, great pace here. Let's see what New York goes for here. They could also just throw something that we haven't expected at all, like that no mod 3 left open this time, but it's gonna be the free mod 2. That's surprising because this was picked early last night, I believe, by Texas.
Yeah, but I think evidently, if New York are picking this first, they're very confident that they can beat Texas's scores. They put up about 1 million points, and I didn't have any super impressive scores. I think almost everybody in the lobby on this map were all right around 300k. So if you're New York, all it takes is one player that can put up a 500k on the map. All of a sudden, this feels like a pretty free point. We've got Toki in the lobby, we've got Opixe coming in. Have to imagine it is going to be, I could see either Taquito or Pez coming in for this one. This is a very tricky slider tech map, and I don't expect to see any overmods on this one.
Yeah, and tech is a skill set that's also bread and butter for New York. You have Taquito, their captain, just so strong on this skill set. You know he'll be in there on the hidden, as well as Opixe, both exceptionally strong tech players, and then Toki in there to fill it out on the Hard Rock. Meanwhile, for Texas, though, Decaden played this one, I think, with Hard Rock last night. I think they might consider changing him to Nomad this time as their, I guess, highest skill cap player on this one. Maybe let a player like Flamesteer tank the Hard Rock instead.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely the way to go, especially in these grand finals where you need one player to be able to pop off. Put your strongest player on the Nomad and let them try and put up a really good score. We do see both Pez and Taquito in for this one. That makes a lot more sense. And of course, Pixe rounding this one out. Probably going to be seeing Taquito on the hidden, but New York have quite a few times throughout this tournament left Taquito to play the no mod, and that's tended to work out well for them as well. Good luck, have fun in the chat. New York looking to consolidate this breakpoint on Black Magic, this free mod 2 mods. Pretty much what we expected. Taquito on the hidden, Pez on the Hard Rock, and then it's going to be Toybot hidden and Decaden taking the Hard Rock once again.
Decaden Hard Rock again. Don't know how I feel about that one, but they know what they're doing on Texas, so I won't question it. Yeah, this map is a classic, real lazy tech map. If you know what one of them look like, you know what they all look like, and this one is of the 7.4 star variant, so pretty difficult.
Yeah, definitely feels like one of the more difficult pools, especially if you have one of the mods. Shouldn't be so bad for the no mod players, but on that Hard Rock especially, this one is so brutal. 2 players on Texas have found misses, 2 on New York as well, and actually it's going to be a full reset for New York, so Toybot on that hidden, only one holding so far. This map is very easy to drop a ton of accuracy on as well, and Texas find themselves in a very good spot early on as New York find another full reset. They have found misses, but they're 35,000 points in the lead, make that 40,000 as they continue to push this score lead, and New York just cannot get any combo going. We get into a very snappy section coming up now. You have to be so quick to snap to the next burst. It's going to catch out Toybot and Opixe, but any trade at this point is going to favor Texas, but they've dropped so much accuracy that New York is bringing the score lead back into another tricky slider tech section now.
Yeah, Toybot went crazy on that beginning to give Texas a lead, but now it's going to go back in favor of New York with Taquito holding on to that combo. Pixe and Pez go down, but Taquito with the highest combo in the lobby going into the break, with the highest accuracy as well, just barely ahead of Flamesteer. And there's no combo on Texas to respond to this. They need to see a break from Taquito now if they want to have a chance to come back in this pick.
Yeah, and we're coming up to a very rough in-control section. It's going to be so tough for Taquito to hold on to this combo, but it's also going to be especially tough for Texas to get their recovery combos through this ending as well. And so somebody on Texas is going to need to absolutely pop off here. And if Taquito can hold, New Texas just don't stand a chance. Here we go into these tricky streams. Everybody hitting it. Toybot, the first to miss for Texas. No misses on New York. Texas very quickly running out of time. There goes the second combo now for Texas. Decatur, the last one standing. 2 misses for New York, but Decatur drops, and with no combos left on Texas, New York are going to consolidate this break point, and they're going to be up 2-0.
Yeah, going into these ending flow patterns here, Pez and Pixie and Taquito all holding strong. Toybot did bring some combo into the ending, but not nearly going to be enough. 154K of score lead for New York to get on the board now 2-0. And Texas already a lot of pressure on their next pick here. You can't afford to drop 2 breakpoints early to this New York roster that is just out for blood tonight, it looks like.
Yeah, and I wonder if it was a bit of a low score for a low roll for New York. Feels slightly dubious to pick free mod 2 if your practice scores are only 100,000 points ahead of your opponents, but it did work out well for them, and it's going to be Texas who now have to find the pick. Their first pick didn't work out for them, of course, so they have to make this one count. If you give up 2 break points early on, you're down 3. New York this early on should have no problem making it 4 with a pick of their own, and then you're just so far behind that it's nearly impossible to come back. So this is going to be a vital pick for Texas. They could very well just run it back and go for that Hard Rock 1 or Hard Rock 2. I do think, despite the unfortunate loss on the Arc 3, stick with your game plan, stick with what has worked. I think the DTs are going to be much later on in this match for both teams when somebody starts to feel desperate. We do have the free mod 4 and the free mod 1 that you mentioned earlier as well that Texas looked good on, but I might be a bit hesitant after that free mod 2 loss.
Yeah, I mean, the pick strategy here is just so difficult for Texas. I feel like you just have to stick to your guns here. Just pick the map that you're the most comfortable on and just fight New York on it, because that's how the skill sets match up in this match. And really curious to see what they do here. Would make sense for them to return to the Hard Rock pool because it was just a narrow loss for them on that. Like, you could still pick that mod pool comfortably, I think, if you're Texas, even though you did lose that first pick. And it is going to be the Hard Rock 2, King of Lions, coming out from Texas. Now, I knew this one was going to come from them because this combines, I think, some of Texas's strongest players, strongest skill sets. I'm particularly looking at Decatur and Chillier, both really strong on this mech tech style of map.
Yeah, and I mean, even Flamesteer is very capable of putting up good scores on this map. All 3 of them played really well last time this was played, put up 1.1 million collectively as a team. Of course, they narrowly won that one by 19,000 points, but they don't have Rectagon to worry about this time around. I think we're going to see pretty similar rosters on both sides from Texas and New York. They kind of have their go-to Hard Rock rosters, and this is another pretty tricky map. Yeah, the only way to describe it is mech tech. There is kind of a really brutal pattern at the halfway mark that could claim a lot of combos, and that is a really rough spot to miss. We'll have to keep an eye out for that as we wait for these players to fill out the lobby.
Yeah, you mentioned that pattern. I think I know the one you're talking about before that slow slider, right?
Yeah, it's like they aim into the wiggle stream.
Yeah, that one. That pattern's going to determine a lot because whoever hits that gets a little bit of free combo after it as well. So if you can manage to get through that, you'll be netting your team a lot of score. But otherwise, this map is pretty consistent in difficulty. Not necessarily a pattern that I would point out to be super hard other than that one. And there are a couple of these tricky slider sections that occur at about this point in the song right here, maybe in like 3 seconds, where these sliders just become massive, and it matters a lot to be able to hit the slider ends during this part. Otherwise, you might have an act drop.
Very long map as well, so lots of potential to build up really, really big combos on both teams. And it's these kind of maps where if we see one player pop off, they can absolutely be the big difference makers. This is a vital map for Texas. They cannot afford any more breakpoints. Let's see if they can be the kings of Hard Rock 2. Nice start to the map. Just a really intense roar.
Yeah, just really intense Camellia song this one is. I think it's a bit underrated personally.
Well, that's a banger. Like, melee maps just go hard because, oh, they're some of the most infamous, some of the most pooled tech maps across many, many tournaments, and we should be getting into the really tricky part of the map shortly. Starts off with some easier streams and very, very quickly picks up in difficulty. We already see 2 misses coming out from New York. One of them, a really big chain miss from Opixay, tanked a ton of accuracy there. Is going to give Texas a slight edge early on, but Chillier trades it back, and due to the length of the map, we're not going to see any big score gaps opening up very early on. Flamesteer trades the second miss back, so it's just going to be 1 FC to 1 to Kaiten facing off against Pez, 2 of the best Hard Rock players in the game.
Yeah, and Pixay dropping that combo right there means that there's no support for Pez, while Decaton has Chillier backing him up, but there goes Pez. So now, oh, but Decaton drops as well. Okay, so there's no big combo in the lobby. The highest right now is Chillier at 330, but that's not too big, and Taquito is hot on his tail, just 100 combo behind him, really.
Yeah, certainly not quite enough to make a big dent in this score lead. They're going to just edge this score lead out ever so slowly. Chillier unfortunately finds the miss. That's going to slow things down. It is dead even right now between these two teams. New York with an ever so slight combo advantage. I take that back. It is dead even once again. Decaton's was a Boncho miss, so now it's Texas who find themselves the lead to New York. Have found a full reset, but we are approaching that really tricky pattern in about 10-15 seconds, so that could be a good equalizer for New York if we do see Texas find many misses on that section.
But for now, Flamesteer and Decaton are going to be doing some great work now for Texas to slam in about 50k of lead, and with an accuracy advantage as well due to Pixay's low accuracy, they're going to gain even more and even faster, and by that hard pattern, they should be up by over 100k.
There goes Decaton. That's a big combo down for Texas. New York, they have an angle back into this one. That claims all of Texas, and New York, they don't miss. They all hit that pattern, and all of a sudden, 56,000 points is nothing. You mentioned it's a little bit of free combo afterwards, and we're going to see this score lead shrink so quickly after this break. The teams see the scores, Texas knows the damage, and all they can do now is pray for New York misses.
A couple players on New York missed at that first Excel stream at the start of the map. There's another one coming up right before this next Ki section, and Texas really needs to see them drop on that because their lead is just dissipating during this slow part. There are 3 big combos on the side of New York, and there's nothing they can do but watch their score lead go back in favor of the red team now. But we're about to get into another intense section. Kaiten finding a break is not going to help their cause, though, but here comes that Excel stream. They need to see breaks from New York.
They need to hold on to their combos as well. Whole lobby hits that pattern. Chillier finds the miss, and things are looking dire for Texas. It's a full reset. Taquito holding strong. Such an incredible player. Finally finds the miss, but the damage is done. They're up by 100,000 points. And at this point, Texas just don't have the time nor the combos to bring this one back. And that's a second break point, Miles. It feels like Texas are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, the OWC captain, Taquito, holding through much of that Ki. Doing such good work for them, already up 150k, and as you said, just no combo left. And New York is going to be able to take a commanding 3-0 lead in this match going into their own pick. And that is just a devastating loss for Texas. 2 out of 3 Hard Rocks not going their way.
Yeah, they still have the Hard Rock 1, but after that Hard Rock 2 and 3, it's a much scarier pick, and honestly, just really good team scores from New York all around. And decent scores from Texas as well, but just unable to keep up with Pez getting nearly 500,000 points. It actually hits the 500,000 mark. That is a really, really good score. This is a tricky map.
Yeah, I mean, once again, just a better overall team performance from New York. You've got 500k on the S rank from Pez. That is incredible. Joined by 420k on both Taquito and Pixay. Meanwhile, you go over to Texas. They had 439k from Decaton, and then Flamesteer and Chillier pair down in the 300ks. It's just not going to be enough against this New York roster.
I did not realize Pez was sitting on an S rank that whole time either. That is absolutely absurd. You see almost everybody else in the lobby has double-digit misses, and then there's just Pez with a whole lot of slider breaks. Now, New York have the pick. They're going to go for a very quick free mod 4. This one is slightly surprising, but because Texas looked good on it, they put up 1.4 million, which feels like a lot on this map, but evidently New York are confident they can beat that. We should see Texas with the same roster. They had Decatur on the hidden, Flamestar on the Nomad, and Chiller running the Hard Rock. For New York, I think we're going to see pretty similar mods to that previous free mod. Likely just going to see Taquito on the hidden again with Pez filling out the Hard Rock, but I do think their third player on that Nomad is a little bit more up in the air. I think they have a couple of players who can do this one pretty well. This map is aim-focused free mod. It's relatively comfortable aim, at least for the start of the map. And then at the very end of the map, it turns into a bit of a stream map that players have to watch out for. And at 230 BPM, the stream section is, in my opinion, slightly easier than the aim, but it's by no means free.
Yeah, this still feels like a little bit of an odd pick to me for New York. I mean, I guess this is the type of pick you make when you see that Chillier and Flamesteer aren't necessarily having good days. So you're trying to force them to stay in the lobby, force them to find their comfort the hard way in the match. And if they are both going to continue to have bad days, then New York, with the same roster as the previous map, could look to just run away with the match on this one if they manage to win it.
Mind you, Flamesteer and Chillier both in for a ton of maps. No matter what, I think Flamesteer played 11 maps, all of them but one in the previous match. So you just have to hope that Flamesteer is ready to go for this free mod 4. And I mean, Texas, they're down 2 breakpoints. They need to get a breakpoint back. Obviously, they're not completely out of it yet. This is the best of 13, so plenty of maps to be played, but Texas are very quickly falling out of contention. They need to fight back now. Expected mods from both teams. Nothing unusual on either side. We'll see if New York can beat that 1.4 million score from Texas, and if Texas can match their previous score.
Yeah, it feels like we're already almost entering the realm of must-win for Texas, because this felt like it would have been a future pick for them in this matchup had it not been picked now. So if they can't win this and New York goes up 4-0, it's going to be a really painful point for them to pick the next map. But let's see, this one is on the longer side, 4 minutes and 15 seconds, no breaks coming out of the start. And as you mentioned, it's critical for the players to hold on to their combos in this beginning section, because the stream section is undoubtedly the hardest part of the map, and that's in the guitar solo at about the 3/4 mark.
Yeah. And New York has been the speed team as well, right? So if Texas find themselves behind going into these streams, they're going to have a tough time making that up. They would really like to find themselves with, maybe a nice 100,000 point advantage. I think they would be pretty happy with. We do see 2 misses from New York. Taquito and Opixie does get traded by Chillier, but Texas are going to make their way up towards that score lead that they need before the stream section. Flamesteer does follow it up with another miss, so that's going to even things out, and unfortunately Texas didn't hold on for long enough to get themselves in the lead. It's just the accuracy difference right now for New York, with Chillier on that 96%. Decatur and Pez on the respective mods. Hard Rock versus Hidden. Honestly, this map is pretty equally tough on both of them, I would say, but these 2 players are definitely capable of nailing the rest of these jumps in this map. They're very comfortable compared to a lot of the other aim in the map, and so we could see this 1v1 keep going for quite some time.
Yeah, Pez on the Hard Rock, very impressive to still be holding on to the FC. We're going to see if they can both hold through this jump section. It's very critical for both of these players to hold, because as you can see, the lead is just balanced on a knife's edge right now. 3K in favor of Texas, just barely. Any break will send it flying in the other direction, and there's combos being reestablished on every other player in the lobby. So before we get into the streams, you really need to hold through everything here, but it's going to be Chillier to find the drop and send the lead back over to New York.
As long as Texas can hold on to this combo on Decatur, they at least have a chance, but assuming Pez is matching, then it's going to come down to the support, and right now that is heavily in favor of New York. There goes Chillier again, having a really tough time with this ending, and here come the streams. Can Texas hold? New York have been the speed team all tournament long, and now Texas is going to have to beat them on it. Everybody holds to that first set of bursts, but the streams only get harder towards the ending. Decatur, Pez, both desperate to hold on to their combos here.
Yeah, and here we go into the streams. It's Decatur to find the drop. It's Pez as well, so it's Flamesteer and Taquito to both hold on. 2 of the supporting players, but that still favors New York. It's Flamesteer alone cannot do it all himself, and he finds the drop. So New York now in another dominating position on this pick.
Yeah, and the streams don't get any harder, right? New York, it feels like, have calmed the waters. They've gotten through the section they needed to, and with Taquito still holding this combo, there's just no chance for Texas to bring this one back. That's going to be 4-0 for Texas, and a very good pick for New York in the end. Texas, I mean, they've got some options open, but I mean, the Hard Rock's not working out for them. New York picking a map that felt like it could have been a Texas pick. They're quickly running out of options here, but you know, Miles, I believe in the comeback. I'm ready. We're going to see a tiebreaker still. Just you wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to need to happen soon for Texas. I mean, they're already down 4-0. I mean, I think the only caveat they have right now is that it's about to be their own pick, because New York already over the halfway point in this match. It felt like so quickly, just 20 minutes ago, we had our first pick, iFlame.
Yeah. You're exactly right. And Texas, I think the other tough part too is going down 4 points. You have to be a little bit demoralized. We'll see if Texas can reset the mentals and keep their focus, but that was a pretty dominant one. I think Texas getting a pretty similar score to the last time they played it, and New York just blowing that score out of the water with a really strong team performance. Those modded players especially, 750, 650k is very impressive. This New York team is just so well-rounded.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like their free mod roster is so incredible because you have arguably the best hidden player in the country and one of the best hard rock players in the country. I think you can only really say he's behind Rectigon definitively at this point. Talking about Pez, like that's just incredible.
It is. Now they could run it back a third time and pick Hard Rock 1. It's a very different style of Hard Rock, right? It's precision, and that requires a very specific skill set. Now, you do still have to worry about Pez, but it's an option. I'm not sure where else they necessarily go. I mean, is it time, Miles, to hit the panic button and maybe pick something like a DT2 and just hope?
Yeah, I mean, you have to do something different here. I mean, the Hard Rock pool clearly is not working with the players playing like they are. I mean, the Hard Rock roster of Texas is not having a great night right now. I mean, Chillier has just not been looking like himself so far this match. So something like this DT1 could be a reset, but as we've been saying, this DT1 type of map has been New York's strongest map throughout the tournament. I mean, like, Taquito, Pez, and Toki on this map, I think are just going to be really strong, and I don't know how I feel about this one either.
Yeah, it does get Decaden out of the lobby as well, which is a little scary for Texas, given Decaden has been their strongest performer, likely to be seen Chillier, Aidenth, and Flamesteer. Now, to be fair, Aidenth and Flamesteer put up some very strong scores on the map. I think 650,000 points each. But yeah, this feels like, I mean, I don't dislike this pick at all. I think your picks have not been working out. It's time to take risks. It's time to go big or go home, and that's kind of what they're doing with this DT1 pick. Of course, this is AR 10.5, so some added challenge there. But I think everybody at this stage of the tournament should be comfortable enough to play the 10.5, especially given its relatively comfortable patterning in the aim department.
Yeah, I don't know. For Texas here, I was looking at particularly the slot machine maps in this pool, which are... it was Nomad 4, Graces of Heaven, DT3, and the HR1 are all picks that felt really volatile to me. And usually when you're this far down, you pick one of those more volatile maps just to try to throw your opponent off guard and maybe snag an RNG pick just to give yourself a little bit of momentum. But something like this is more like you want to get your players going. You need to see Aidenth come in for his first map, a player who's looked so strong on DT throughout the tournament. You need to see Flamesteer and Decaden look really strong on this, but I feel like you're just kind of walking into the lion's den here with New York and how they've been on this style of map.
Yeah, Aidenth has been a really big asset for Texas this tournament. Doesn't play a lot of maps, but on the maps that Aidenth does play, has absolutely popped off on them, and showed up when it matters. Looking to do the same on the DT1, but has found the first miss. And this is the kind of map that you we're not going to be surprised to see some very big combos on. So even as early as, 200, 300 combo in, those misses could matter because there's no guarantee that that miss gets traded back, as it's very possible we see certain players holding for half the map or more.
And once again, it's felt like in this match that Texas has been pretty good at holding themselves in it through the start. They just get out-clutched in the ending by New York. So they really need to hold their combos through all of these sections here to be able to contend with them in the ending. But no more breaks are coming, just still only the first break from Aiden.
Yeah, and the score lead is actually a fair bit, 30,000 just off of accuracy. That's a big miss from Flames tier, down by 500 combo now. New York is going to score the score lead pretty quickly, and although we have 2/3 of the map to go, as you mentioned, this is what the map is, right? The map doesn't necessarily get any more difficult. It's very consistent in terms of difficulty, and so New York are just going to continue to push this score lead. Texas, yet again, just have to hope for a New York mistake. They do have a good recovery on Aiden, so they are ready to capitalize if we do see a couple misses from New York. That is far from guaranteed as we get into the next PI.
Yeah, but New York, man, they are still holding on to that three-way. It's like we've got Jalen Brunson, Eli Manning, and Karl Anthony Towns in the lobby.
Yeah, they just aren't giving Texas any chance whatsoever. I mean, Texas have two very good combos right now, but against 3 FCs, there's nothing you can do. Make that 2 FCs. That's going to help Texas a little bit, but it's not going to be nearly enough. They need another one of those FCs to drop at a minimum. Most likely they're going to need 2, but that pattern claims 2 combos on Texas to Caton, the last one standing. And unless we see a very quick meltdown from Pez and Taquito, Caton just doesn't have a chance to catch up.
Yeah, Pez and Taquito, that dynamic duo doing it once again on the DT1 into the last Ki. There's just not enough time. Even if they were to both break right now, I don't think there's enough support for Decaton to be able to take back a 350k lead in the ending, as Taquito does go down, but once again, just not enough time.
Yeah, and they're going to be looking at 2.5, 2.6 million team score on a grand finals map. So that's really impressive stuff from New York. And I mean, Texas looking really strong as well. I mean, this is going to be 600,000 points better than the last time they played this map. Unfortunately, it just wasn't nearly enough. They're, time and time again, they have their moments in the early stages of the map, but just can't keep up towards the ending. New York, they've got the next pick, and I mean, seeing as they've only actually picked 2 maps, there's still so many maps open for New York in this pool. They have so many options. They still have the hidden 3 untouched that we know Texas can only put up something like 400k on. That seems like a almost guaranteed point for New York whenever they feel like it. They don't actually have to pick the hidden 3. They could potentially opt for more of the tech picks if they wanted to. They could opt for another free mod. They could even go into the DTs, that DT4 banned out previously, but now left open. It feels like it's a pick of the litter for New York.
Yeah, and that's the second FC on the DT1 ever. The first one coming from Aidenth about 15 minutes ago. FCing it on the bench, but Pez just doing it in the lobby, and there's not much you can do when that happens. So New York now in a position to make this grand finals completely uncompetitive if they just convert this next pick and one more.
Yeah, New York, they've been unstoppable. I mean, the most points they've given up in any match, I believe, was 3 against Texas, funnily enough. They gave up 3 against Virginia as well, but beyond that, 1 point against SoCal, 1 point against Massachusetts, none against Kentucky, and they're going to go for no mod 3. This is a map we've not seen this weekend. It is going to be a fast game map. It is, I guess, borderline all you could say at 126 BPM, but it's lots of 1-2s, lots of very high spacing jumps, and honestly, interesting pick from New York, given that it's not a skill set we've seen so far in this match, and the aim generally something that has looked pretty good for Texas. But maybe the assumption is Texas didn't pick it in their previous match, so they banned it out last match, actually, I'm realizing, so this pick makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, this map is like the chat favorite right now. This is a map that everybody knows. And yeah, 8.8 stars in our Nomad pool. Just very fast aim throughout. And I think this one, yeah, it's going to bring in some new players. We see Karomi come in for New York, their resident aim player. This one could be a bit of an odd roster. Like, I think you could potentially see Pez come in to take that third spot. Yeah, Pez is going to come in. But for Texas, it's probably going to be that same roster they've been running on all these aim picks. We're going to have Flamesteer to Caton and Chillier to try and pick up the pieces on this pick. But not sure who we'll see as the third in New York.
Yeah, I mean, Opixe is a very good aim player, but Taquito, just so good all around on pretty much everything. You can always count on Taquito to put up a really solid score. And so both teams have pretty similar rosters that we've been seeing all match long. Karomi, the only change up as here we go into the No Mod 3 Texas. On the back foot here. They might be like, 4 steps back at the moment, 5 steps back, I guess. And if they want to start the comeback, I mean, they probably had to start 2 maps ago. But as they say, Miles, the best time to start was 4 maps ago. The second best time to start is right now.
Exactly. I mean, we've seen crazy comebacks happen in this tournament before. It would be something out of this world if Texas were able to pull it back from this 5-0 down. But have to get a point on the board. I feel like your dignity almost calls for it.
Yeah, if you can get at least 1 point, you can, well, you won't be happy, but it might feel a little bit better. This is a very tricky map already. We're starting to get into the first really big jump section now. Already we've seen combos claimed on both sides. It's 2 FCs to 1 for New York. And yet again, it's the Caton trying to fend off 2 FCs. Karomi looking very good so far, 99%. And that's a full reset. That pattern is almost, well, not completely impossible, but it is so brutal. And let me tell you, there's a few more of those coming up.
Yeah, I mean, this is the part of the map that's really comboable. Once you get to that second half, it's really difficult. So if the Caton had just held through that, he could have potentially taken the score lead back. But for now, it's going to be really good for New York. But a couple more breaks to come out for Karomi, and now Texas will slowly start to reel in the lead back under 50k. But we're about to get into another difficult section. Everyone hitting that jump. But here we go into the next chorus. It's going to be Chillier and Pez trading breaks, but there's more jumps to come.
It is another set of misses traded, but there goes all 3 to Taquito, the only one to hit that pattern. Can he get these cross-screen jumps? Manages to do so. And this is a slightly easier jump section, still tough, but Taquito has a chance to really push this score lead now. Sitting at around 20,000 because the rest of New York continues to find chain misses here, and Texas have done a decent job of recovering, but Chillier finds a couple more misses to increase that lead for New York. And this is that last half of the map where the patterns are absolutely brutal. We're going to see a lot of these combos drop off really quick. And I think Texas's big hope is that we see a whole lot of chain misses out of Karomi, out of Pez. But Texas are really very quickly running out of time. 40,000 points is far from insurmountable, but they need to pop off in this ending. 2 misses, not the way to start the ending. Now it is all on Flamesteer. I don't think Flamesteer can really afford to miss because Taquito still holding strong with 600 combo. And there goes Flamesteer. That's going to do it. New York find themselves on match point.
Yeah, off an incredible performance from Taquito, a player that many didn't think would even be in the roster for this map. I thought myself it might have been Opixe in that third spot, but Taquito just showing why he comes in for an aim map like this. 520k, and he just looks so poised, 99%, carrying New York through this pick. Hitting that final jump pattern. It's God mode from him, the OWC captain, putting New York on the precipice of their first USC victory. Sorry.
Yeah. I am very impressed that we actually had 2 people hit those that ending pattern, both the Caton and Taquito. That is, I didn't think we'd see anybody hit that, but yeah, Texas, they do have the next pick. They've had 3 of them, and so far, they've not found one that works. What if they pick HD3? Surely if New York thought they were heavy favorites on the HD3, maybe they would have picked it by now. I think at this point, just about everything feels like a long shot. They're gonna go for DT3.
Jarby!
they're going to potentially close this one out in style with Ode to Jarby.
We've got the actual slot machine in the pool.
It's a banger.
Yeah, you could open up an online casino right now and you'll have the same chance on the blackjack that you will of hitting the beginning of this map. Because it does feel like that. The way Dada described it in the showcase I thought was really good. This is the type of map that everybody can play and nobody can play at the same time. It's like, it's one of those difficult old style alt maps. I say old style, it's just an old ass map. Sapphire Ghost mapped it, but it's we'll say it's a slot machine.
That's really all you can say about it. I mean, the map, I think it'll speak for itself once we get into it. It's far from an easy map. There are, I think, only 2 DTFCs, and one of them is from Aiden, so Texas at least have one player that can play this map to a high level. Mind you, getting an FC on this map in practice and doing it in match are 2 very, very different things. And yeah, with the beginning of this map, I don't think you can ask for an FC in match, but maybe after that early pattern is when you can look for a big combo out of Aiden. But can't just be one, right? The rest of the roster needs to step up as well if they want to find a point against New York. This is a bit of a different roster from New York. We see Emerald Ages for the first time in this match, and Toki potentially. Okay, Emerald Ages is going to be subbing out for Pad. We've got a very much more standard New York roster. This is not Emerald Ages, guys. I was excited
Emerald
too, but put Emerald
back
Ages
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, lame roster coming out from New York. Pez, Taquito, and Toki to try to close it out. Meanwhile, Texas, 8th Chillier Pair and Flames tier on death's door. They decide to play the slot machine to try and get themselves a point in this match. Let's see how it goes. This is the shortest map in the pool, 1 minute and 10 seconds. Every single note counts here.
Yep, and already everybody's missed very much as expected. Now the map gets slightly easier. Players have a chance to actually build up some kind of combo. We do see a few more misses coming out from both sides. Aiden's unfortunately not quite going to be matching that high combo in practice. Flames here finds the miss, and right now Pez and Taquito, doing what they've done all tournament long, and it's a 200,000 point lead for New York. Miles, this might just be the end for Texas. You have half the map to go, but the score lead grows. It's up to 400,000, and New York, for the first time in USC history, will find themselves the winners of USC 2025. A huge congratulations to them.
In dominant fashion, their power duo, Taquito and Pez, the prize of the Empire State, going to be securing themselves for the first time the victory. And just what dominant fashion. I mean, feels like no one really challenged them this entire tournament.
This is definitely, I mean, it's an incredibly stacked roster.
Look at this score.
It's very good, and I mean, if you can get everybody struggles with the early half of the map, but if you can get through that, the rest of the map is actually pretty playable. And Taquito only with the slider break in the beginning, Pez with 2 misses also in the beginning. Those 2 scores are going to be, I think, 3rd and 4th place on the Global DT leaderboard, respectively, had they played it with a score V1. But, you know, Texas, yes, despite the tough loss in the grand finals, they've tied their best placement after 6 years back to 2nd place. And although this loss is going to sting for a while, when they look back on this tournament, I think they have a lot to be proud of. They beat some very strong teams on the way here. They beat a lot of the historical USC favorites and have definitely earned themselves the grand finals spot. And of course, New York, 2nd place last year. They did not want to get 2nd place again, and it had almost felt easy for them.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, the most that any team has gotten on this New York team this year has been 3 points, and that was on Virginia in finals and this Texas team in quarterfinals, both able to take 3 points against New York. But when the pool got this hard, no one could rock with them, and New York just looked too good this year. But as you said, not a bad run from Texas whatsoever. They beat some of the strongest teams in USC. I mean, they beat both Californias, they beat Virginia. I mean, if you're able to do that, you can definitely pat yourself on the back. You made it really far here, but nonetheless, this type of grand finals, this has got to feel a little bit disappointing if you're Texas or a fan of Texas.
Yep. We do get to see Koiju, though. It's a banger of a tiebreaker. They're going to show this one off, seeing as it didn't end up being played this weekend. And this, it is a fun tiebreaker. It is a pretty tricky tech map, kind of switches back and forth between aim control streams and some really tricky slider tech. So it'll be fun to see what they can do with the pressure off. We'll see if anyone opts for any mods. You know, knowing Texas, maybe they want to enjoy their last map in USC 2025 and run a couple hard rocks just for the sake of it.
Yeah, this USC, despite the 7-0 Grand Finals, I think this was such an interesting iteration. Like, we had some teams pulling off some incredible upsets this year. I mean, a team like Connecticut that I think was seeded in the 20s was able to make top 12 or even top 8 this year. That storyline was incredible. And then the entire quarterfinals weekend, the amount of tree frogs we had was something I'll never forget.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Oregon, the 12th seeded team, took Virginia to a tiebreaker in the quarterfinals. The eventual third place team nearly got knocked down to the losers bracket very early on. And Oregon ended up going very, very far in this tournament, their best placement ever. So, yeah, like you said, Miles, despite the disappointing grand finals, there have been so many cool storylines, so many incredibly close matches in this tournament that it has been a banger of USC overall.
Yeah, and I know for New York, they don't give a damn about any storylines because they did exactly what they set out to do this USC. They came into this one, I know, expecting they were going to come back to this grand finals after suffering defeat at the hands of Virginia last year, and they did exactly what they sought out to do. So ultimately, a great tournament run from them.
Yeah, and it might be one of the most dominant performances we've seen in USC. I don't think it's the most dominant, but it feels like it's probably up there in the top 3. There have been some crazy rosters historically. I think the what was it, the SoCal roster in what was it, like 2019 was pretty, or was it the NorCal roster?
It was
Was pretty
SoCal,
absurd. Yeah, the SoCal with the one with
Idke, and Vaxay.
Vaxay, yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit messed
But
up.
yeah, this New York roster is definitely up there. It's one of the all-time USC rosters.
Mm-hmm.
And Emerald Aegis is in, Miles. The people got their wish and is playing the tiebreaker with the Hidden. We do get some mods, which is fun. Taquito and Emerald Aegis playing Hidden. And Decaton, the only one brave enough to play this with Hard Rock. I do not think this is going to be super playable on the Hard Rock, but it is Decaton after all. Maybe Decaton can pop off.
Yeah, I mean, this map, there were people arguing that this map was actually harder than Zenith Fall during last OWC because this was the finals custom tiebreaker. And I think the way we ended up putting it was that the hardest patterns of this map are harder than Zenith Fall's hardest patterns, but Zenith Fall overall a harder map.
Well, apparently the most dominant team was Virginia in 2023, which is just 2 years ago. Thank you to Yoshi Lover, our resident USC historian. And, you know, Decaton actually off to a pretty good start on the Hard Rock. But, yeah, this map does not get any easier. This is the kind of aim control stream section that everybody's finding tons of chain misses on. And now we get a brutal slider tech section, and the map kind of just alternates back and forth between the two for the rest of the map.
Yeah, I guess we should take this moment as we look back on the 9th iteration of USC. Can't believe next year is going to be the 10-year anniversary of USC. That's a crazy thing to think about, but take a minute to thank all of the staff members who are involved in this tournament. One big shout out especially to T1G, who I know wasn't really as present this year as he usually is due to some health complications, and we wish him the best of luck in his recovery. We hope to see him back next year, but also to our streamers, Mr. Keys for streaming this match, and all the streamers who got involved. We had to bring in some emergency streamers as well back when we were forced to run C-Stream for a little bit during this tournament. That was an experience.
Yeah, and the streamers absolutely stepped up to get, I think, almost every match covered. Maybe there was one match that didn't get streamed because there was like 4 matches at a time or something like that, but I'm sure somebody will do the math after the tournament. They usually do, but okay, apparently we did stream every match, so yeah, huge shout out to the streamers and the rest of the staff as well, of course, the refs, the graphics designers, all the commentators as well. Takes a big team to bring it all together, and yeah, I can't wait for the next edition. I think 10th year anniversary. It's gonna be a banger.
Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be special. I mean, I know this tournament is special to me. I mean, I've been around this game for a very long time. I think there's not many tournaments that are as special as USC. Just runs every year, always such good competition. Every state always bringing their best, and it's interesting to see how the teams change every year. It's just something so unique in the context of OSU, where usually you see teams changing up for every tournament and you can't really get invested in any storylines or whatever. But we do have storylines like this New York roster, not always this powerful, but just gradually getting better throughout the years, and now finally peaking here in this dominant run.
Yeah, you know, shout out to Dada as well. Especially the past like 3 or 4 years, since Dada has kind of, I think, changed the pooling philosophy. USC has had such interesting pools year after year, and I mean, they might not be the most balanced pools every week, but they sure make for a very entertaining watch time, and they make for some fun matches.
As divisive as they may be sometimes, I do believe that Dada's USC pools, what Dada's been doing has been special, and I know they are the envy of every other country in the world because they don't have the honor of playing these map pools every week.
Yeah, and whether you like that or not, it does take a lot of work to keep the pools balanced with how wacky some of the maps are. I think when you have a standard pool, the pool is standardized that way because it tends to be fairly balanced. So trying to balance pools when you have different kind of maps in every slot every week adds a lot more difficulty to the process, but I think Dada has done a very good job. And not just Dada, of course. Dada is the lead map pooler, but the rest of the map pooling team has done good work as well.
I got my honorary 4, I think, maps in this year.
There you go. They were the 4 best maps in the of the tournament, of course.
Yeah, it was the round of 32 tiebreaker was one of them. So
yeah.
And Evacuate the Dance Floor remix. So
that was a banger too. All right.
Yeah.
Good choices by Miles. Let's go.
Yeah. And of course, shout out to all the players and viewers. This tournament would not be nearly as epic without them. I mean, without the players, we wouldn't have a tournament. Without the viewers, we wouldn't be able to put up such a great spectacle of it all.
And we hope to see both the players and the viewers back for the next edition of USC. That's another cool thing. I feel like the USC viewership has just grown year after year. There's always so many people that are interested in this tournament, and it is really nice, I think, especially for the organizers when you put so much work into the tournament. You know, T1G as well, who has had health complications but still been doing his best to contribute as much as he's able to. It is very rewarding to see people enjoying the tournament as much as people have.
And now, as we go into the waning moments of this tiebreaker, New York go off into the sunset with their first USC victory.
And we go off into the sunset as well. USC 2025 Grand Finals. We give one last congratulations to our top 3. New York in first place, Texas claiming second, and Virginia in third. That is going to do it for us. It's been a pleasure to commentate this tournament for you all. I've been iFlame, joined by Miles, and we'll see you guys next year.